In this chapter, we'll talk about add-ons. In this video, we'll see how to use Ant Landscape add-on to create some terrain here. But first of all, I would like to show you how to choose your add-ons easily. And you can go now in a new website. It's not really new, but since a few Blender versions, it's here. And you have Blender extensions, okay? So when you go inside Blender extensions, you have all the, let's say, the official add-ons that are available for Blender, and you can go into add-ons here and you will see all the add-ons that are used. So you can sort by rating or by downloads, for example, and you will have the most downloads add-ons here. So we did use already Loop Tool, Bull Tools, Extra Mesh, maybe we'll have a look at it. Extra Curve is just something to add other objects, so very interesting. You have Ant Landscape, it's the one that we will use now. You have Archimesh, you have something else, you have a lot of things, and it depends of what you want to do with Blender. Blender is so big that you can do a lot of things with it. You can play with architecture, you can play with jewel design, you can play with product design, you can play with character design or animation or video games or so much things. And in all these different tasks, some add-ons will be useful, some less. So I will show you the ones that are really useful in my opinion. But it will really depend on what you want to do with Blender. So if you have a task that you want very specific to make, let's say, for example, jewelry, some add-ons that I will show you will not be really useful, but it's always good to see how it works. So basically, you just click on one, and here you have the description, you have the ratings, and so it can be very useful to see. It's better than just going here, edit preferences, and search into the add-ons here. It's not the good Blender version here, sorry. So here in edit preferences, sorry, I have here, and I go into extensions. So you can see that I can have everything, but I don't have the images, I don't have the ratings, everything. So it's good to have this website. And when you have this website, you even have a little trick to add something. When you want to get the add-on, you can just drag and drop into Blender. So here it's not a good example because I have already Bull Tool, but let's say I would like to add Extra Mesh. Okay, do I have Extra Mesh already? Yes, I have Extra Mesh already, so it's not useful. What could be good? 3D print toolbox, I don't think I have it. So let's go for it. And then I just get the add-on and click and drag into Blender, and then just Blender will tell me, do you want to install this add-on? Yes, and it will be into the list. So it's another way of adding some add-ons. It can be good, and you can see that you have, for example, other possibilities, like here you have the themes, for example. So here, if you go there, you want something darker, you get the theme, you drag and drop, you accept, okay, and you will have a new theme. So very easy to use. Now, if you want to come back to the original, you go in the preferences, into the theme section, and you search the Blender Dark, the classical one that we use every day. Okay, so it's a way to make Blender suits to what you want to do with it. So let's go with Ant Landscape. I will go into the website because I don't think I have it now. So let's go into the add-on lists. By downloads, I think I will find it easily. I have it here. I get the add-on, I drag and drop. Okay. And that's it. I think it was already in the list here. So now I have Ant Landscape. So how it works, basically, you add an object here with Shift A. Okay, into the mesh section, you will find a landscape. Very easy. And it's these options that are important here. So don't move this object because you will have a lot of options to deal with. You can make a sphere, for example, to make some, let's say, rocks or planets or things like that. You can make it flat. And then you have all these little options to understand. So first of all is the subdivision here. You can see that by default it's 128 vertices by 128 vertices. If I enable the geometry, you can see the grid like that, okay? So more you add, more you will have some definition. So for example, if I put 256 here, I will have this kind of definition here, okay? So it can be good to have. You have the mesh size, so if you increase that, you will increase the entire mesh and the noise will not change. So it means that if you put at 8, for example, you will have the same noise with less definition, but bigger here landscape, okay? You can play with the noise settings. You have different kind of noise settings here. You have multifractal, rigged multifractal. You have heteroterrain, for example. You have a lot of possibilities there to play with. So I will let you make some experiments, but the 4 first are more or less good, okay? Because some are a little crazy, like the marble here is not really useful, as you can see. So yeah, let's say the hybrid multifractal here makes good results here. Okay, I come back with the rigged heteroterrain, sorry, it's the one I like. Yeah, here, so you have the noise size, you have the depth, you have the dimension, the offset, and in the end here you have the height of the model. So if you want to increase the height here, you will see that you will have a limit here, maximum and minimum. So if you increase the maximum at 2 here, you will have the entire mesh, or 3 like this. You are sure to have everything, you will have the entire height. So yeah, be careful with this setting, it's too much here for sure, but let's say with something like this we will have something interesting, okay? You can use some strata. For example, here you can make different kind of strata. You can see here I will have this kind of canyon or things like that. And then you have here the different presets, okay? So you can use some, for example, a noise, okay, it will give you this canyon here, okay, will give you real canyons like that, and then you just choose what you want to do with that, okay? So let's say some cliffs, you will have this kind of settings, or what do we have, large terrain maybe, something like that. Again, not bad, this one, I like it. Maybe if we increase the height a little, like at 3, yeah, I like this one. Looks not bad. Maybe yeah, okay. I will come back to it. Double multifractal. Yeah, this one is good. Okay, and so you have a lot of possibilities. You have mountain 1, okay, mountain 2. You can see that it's a lot that you can play with this. But let's create a simple landscape, nothing complicated. So let's go into the default here. I will choose the here double multifractal because it has nice noise into it. I will go, so you can play with the noise size, the depth, the lacularity, a lot here. You can see the dimension here of the noise, here the depth. If you want to add some details, it's not really useful to add more than 10, let's say. The lacularity here will change a little the noise itself, okay, and the offset just to have this kind of settings over there, and the gain if you want to, okay. So let's play with that. I will not want some far off, so I will just put a far off at none. Like this, I will have this kind of settings. I will increase the density maybe at 256 or even more, we will see, okay. So to have this kind of better looking landscape. And then I will go, you can add a water plane if you want. So maybe I have too much height here or too much lacunarity. I will have a look on the design itself. It's too much here. Maybe this is not bad. The dimension a little too big. Yeah, in my opinion, this looks far better and more realistic. So here we have something, let's say, interesting. You can play with higher details and going until 512, something like this, to have really more, yeah, more vertices. So be careful, it will increase the number drastically. So it depends on how much you want to put into your scene here. But basically, let's go into something near 300, something like that. Might be 350, might be a good compromise. Okay, so we have this. Now you can play with the different settings here that are now not in the list here, but here. You can see that into the create, into landscapes, you have landscape, landscape tools, and landscape main, landscape noise. So you can still play with some options of the mesh here. Even if you move this, for example, okay, you can still come back to regenerate something with noise and refresh the noise if needed or whatever. So I just make RG to put it here. But we have something interesting here into the landscape tools. We have the weight from slope and the landscape eroder. So here what we will do, we will use landscape eroder. So it takes a little time to use this. Usually it takes a little of time. We will repeat that maybe 5 times. It should take a while to appear. Yeah, you can see that we start to have nicer result here. So we will keep it like this. Sometimes you can even increase until 10, but let's say 5 will be enough to erode this. I will see the results. It takes a while to compute usually. Yeah? So yeah, no, the 10 it's a little too much. I would say 5. Okay, good. So we have an eroder here. And what we would like with this mesh now is to texture it, because we will have some important informations of this. Here you can see that we have into the data, we have some different vertex groups. We didn't talk that much about vertex group, but basically you can see them more into the vertex, into the weight pane, sorry. So here you can see that you have different settings that will appear, and that shows a little the sediments, the flow rate, things that will be really interesting to add if needed to texture well and to make a realistic texture. So we have a rain map as well. So yeah, let's take the rain map, and you can play with these settings into the texturing. But for this, you have to make little things. You have to use the color attribute node section here. So to do that, you just choose the one. So the rain map here, you have the color attribute. The name will be rain map. Okay. You add it just like that, and you go now into vertex paint. So by default, you can see that it's totally black. And now you go into paint and vertex from color weight. And now it will give you the same thing, but with a shade between white and black. Okay, with a gradient between black and white. So now we can add a few, maybe this one, let's say we are okay with that. So it gives more or less the height. Okay, so higher it is and whiter it is. Now let's do that with another one. Let's come back into weight paint to see a little more what we have here. So we could play, for example, with this one, the water. Okay, we can play with this water here, and let's go and add a new one. So we can play with water like this. Okay, and whatever color, it's not really important. And we will use another one, maybe the flow rate. The flow rate is good to play with as well, or the sediment is good too. We will play with different, but let's say, oh, the capacity looks very good as well. I will use the water and the capacity. So I will add a new one and use the capacity here. Okay, let's go for that. Capacity node could not be created. Okay, good. Now I have everything. I can come back to my vertex paint here, and I will select the water over there and the water here, and go into this option, vertex color from weight. Now I will have this, okay? And now I will have the capacity that is a little different, okay? And the capacity here, and I will paint, and I will use set color, vertex color from paint, okay? And I will have this. So now I will have three different, as you can see, maps to play with and to texture my model. Okay, so the first thing we could do with this, and I will show you how it works into the shading now. So let's go into the shaders. So it's just simple ways of adding some colors or textures. So let's say you have different textures, some rocks, some grass, some maybe some snow or some water. And what you can do with that is we will just play with colors, and you can imagine that you will add some textures into it. I will not go that far, but just to show you how to mix this. So let's go first of all between the the grass and the rock. Okay, so higher we go, and we will have some rock here. So it will be a mix between two colors. Okay, you have a mixed color here. It will be a mix between the green of the grass, let's say something like that, okay, and something like this here, and the gray of the rocks, okay, just like this. So we have a mix. By default it will come out like this, but we will use the first map that we have, the height, and it was here. So you will go with input, and you will see that you can find there the layer weight, I would say. Is it layer weight? No, it's not layer weight. It's the color attribute. Yeah, just here. And now you can choose from the different things you have here. So we did play with the rain map. We just make this as a factor, and look, now you will have the color that will look like this. Okay, so let's say if you plug here the textures of rock, some textures of rocks, and here some textures of grass, something like that, you will have something that works well. Okay, let's add it like this. So now let's add a different variety of rock maybe, and we will just play with another mix here. We will plug this one here, but we will use another color attribute as well. I will just duplicate, and I will use the water, maybe the capacity here. Okay, so let's go into the capacity, and we will plug this into that over there. So the second color here will not be this. It will be maybe a different one. So here you see that you have the capacity over there. And so you will just mix with another color and add another color. So it might be something a little different, and it will depend. Yeah, something like that will work well. You see a little more in these colors, just to contrast the details over there. You can see that it works pretty well to add some details there. You can play with a color ramp as well. We did play already with color ramp, but it can just contrast these values if needed. Okay, so let's say we would like something a little less saturated, maybe over there, and maybe a little more near the green, something over there, and you can contrast things over there if needed. Okay, so you can play with the last one, and I will add another mix on this, and this one will be the water. Okay, so you can just click this one here, the color will be the factor over there, and then you just, as you want some water, maybe you want some water. Okay, and you can see that now you have this kind of color that will appear. So it's a very good way to play with, and with these settings here, you can play, for example, with the roughness of the file here. So for example, if you want to add more roughness or less roughness into some surface, let's say you would like everything to be non-reflective except the water. Okay, so you will use this color attribute and plug it into the roughness. So let's go and put the main color already. Okay, and you will have this kind of result. We want something without even with a lot of roughness on everything except the water. So what we will do, we will invert this. We can see that the water here is in white. So if I plug this directly, it will increase the roughness into the water and decrease the roughness into the rest of the surface. So what I will do, I will just add another color ramp that I will plug there and plug there to the roughness. But here I can invert the colors just by drag and drop this like that. Okay, and now you can see that I can add really no roughness at all into this surface, and maybe or just a bit, just like this. Okay, and now I will have everything that is non-reflective except the water, for example. So it can be very useful to use these techniques to add more depth and more realism into the surface that you will play with. Okay, so this was here the Aint landscape. Just imagine in except the color, if you change the color for textures, for rock textures and grass textures and maybe water textures, you will have already something that looks really, really good. I don't take this time because we did see already how to use these textures, but just to show you how it works basically to mix. You will just have to plug the texture sets over there. Okay. Here, so it's the Ant landscape, the creating terrain add-on, and that is available into Blender. We will see other ways of doing terrains during the training, more complex and more interesting in some ways, but this one is a simple and effective one. You just add some trees and some rocks into that, and it will work. Now we will see into the next video the extra objects and the bolt factory. In this video, we will talk about two add-ons that are available in Blender. It's the extra objects and the bolt factory. So let's go into that. Here we have the possibility to use the extra object. Okay, and into the extensions you have the extra curves as well. I will show you that as well. I will just if you just not have extra mesh objects into the add-ons, you just get it into the extensions. I will just use the same for the extra curve. Okay, So I just install it, and then I will search the bolt factory. This one is a must-have too. So okay, you have the bolt factory, you have the extra objects, and basically it's pre-configured objects that will be very useful and will you gain some time. So here, for example, we have a new menu here, a new menu. If you go into mesh option, you will have everything here that wasn't here before, okay? And you have the bolt as well. We will see the bolt in the end of the video. Into the curve section, you will have the same thing here. More options. You can see that you will have a lot of possibilities there to add more curves or more curves already pre-configured. So let's go into the mesh section first. What you will have, and it's a good one, is the round cube. So the round cube lets you go into it says what it is just by showing it. Okay, a round cube, no triangles there, so very good. Here you have the torus objects, so you have some twisted torus, super torus, torus knot as well. So if I just add a torus knot over there, here you will have this type, okay, with different knot types, for example, can be useful sometimes, I don't know. And you have some different torus, the twisted one that you could not have before, okay? And with this you can increase the twist, the number of twists if needed. So sometimes it can be good because you will have this kind of selection possible here after that wasn't possible before, okay? This kind of twisted selection, and just by extrude it and put it in and pull it out, you will have really nice possibilities of make some experiments with that, okay? You have some math functions, so for those that want to create some math functions and that are good with that, I'm not really a mathematician here, but mostly you just add one z equation here and it will give you a shape like that. So for people that are in mathematics and want to show the equation just with a 3D model, can be good. Even if I don't use it myself that much. You have the gear, okay, so you will have this. Really good to can add the number of teeth that you want, the radius if needed, the within, the base, okay, the size of the dedentum, the addentum, the pressure angle if you want. So yeah, a lot of possibilities with that, and yeah, very easy to understand as it is like that. So I don't know, for someone that want to make a clock or someone that want to make a jewelry design with a watch or something like that, you can add really gears very easily like this. And like this you will have the worm as well, so it's the infinite one. You just play with the same kind of settings, the basic radius, the row height, okay, the addendum, the addendum as well. So you can see that basically you can really add some interesting shapes into that. You will have here the pipe joints. So this is really a time saver. Like for example, you want a Y joint, let's go, and you will have it. You can play with the angles, okay, and everything is in quad directly. You can play with the radius, with the division as well. So let's say you make a pipe and you don't want to make your cuts because it will be a long time to, not really long time, but it will be complicated to make this really. So really a good time saver here. And you can play as well with let's say a cross joint or an end joint. You just add the number that you need, okay, and if you want more you add more. So can be useful this just to make your pipe joints easily. Okay. Here you have some gemstones. So you can add a brilliant, for example. If you are in jewelry, it's good. If you are in jewelry, I really recommend to use jewel craft. I make a lot of tutorials on that. You just go into my channel and you will see that you will have a lot of information for this. But this is very good because you can play with the number of segments if needed. And it didn't work that well for this one. Let's go with this one. I know that it works well. Yeah, you can increase the number of divisions. You can play with the size of the radius crown. You can play with the size of the pavilion here, the height of the crown, the pavilion over there. So yeah, for gem makers, jewel makers, it can be very useful as well. And you have the diamond here. That works well too. Okay, that you can see. So don't increase that much the number here. Something like that might look good, even if the others are more beautiful in my opinion. Okay, so this is a basic cut, but yeah, can work in some ways. You have some extras, like for example the rock generator, the beam builder, the wall factory. So let's go into the rock generator here, and as it says, it creates some rocks. So you can add some different rocks, different objects. For example, let's say you want to add some rocks somewhere, and like this you will have a lot of iterations of that with a random seed, so they will never have the same shape. And like this, you will have maybe objects that you can add into your projects easily. Okay. So these two are really similar. I will delete that one. But you can see that here the shapes are really different. So it could be good to add this and distribute that on a landscape, for example. We will see how to distribute things into landscapes with geometry nodes into the chapter 17, I think. But yeah, you can see that to add some rocks somewhere can be good. I'm not sure if it's UV wrapped already. Let's go into that. No, you will have to unwrap it yourself. But yeah, it's just a simple operation, this. Okay, and here you have into the extras again, the beam builder. So yeah, just a beam builder. You have a box profile, a U profile, a C profile, R, Y, T. So yeah, sometimes can be useful. I like the next one, the wall factory, really powerful one. So you can make some, let's say, old style walls with that, ruins. And there you have, for example, the possibility to add some more openings here. If you open the opening sections, you will have the possibility to repeat, okay, or not. Here you can see that you have 3. Now if you increase the size or the global size of the wall, it will repeat directly, just like that, okay? You can merge the blocks if needed. You can play with the resins of the blocks, play with the variance. If you add no variance, they will all be the same. But if you increase the variance like this, they will have different sizes, okay? So can be useful. And you play with the minimum size, okay? You have the depth, the variance for the depth as well, if you want to, okay? So to have something really like old rings like this, so can be useful again. I will decrease this now, not a lot, just a little like this, okay? And you can play with a lot of things here. You have the slots to add some slots into it. So maybe I will remove the openings. The slots will look like that, and you can repeat the slots as well. Maybe not that much. So you just check the indent, the vertical, the horizontal here, and you will have something to add less, I guess. It seems not really, actually. Yeah, it's a strange way to repeat things here. Anyway, you have the kernels here that you can add as well on top. So I like to add it with less big amounts like this, and maybe a bigger height. Yeah, to have something like that. You have some shelves that you can add here, okay, with again the possibility to increase the side of it like this into the entire wall, for example, to make your character walk into that space, for example. You have some steps as well that you can put and add, and that can be you can play with the height of it. You can play with the riser like this, the number as well, I guess, the within, yeah, just to go until the top, for example. Okay. You have the depth as well if you want bigger. So you can play really with a lot of things with that. And then the transform options as all the objects that you can find in Blender. So that's it for this one. A simple star add-on, a simple star object here. So really simple one. You can increase the number of branches, decrease it, and play with the little options. So yeah, I mean, just this one, it's something that you don't have by default, and if you not have it, it will, if you want to model it, it will take some time. A step pyramid here. Okay, so it's not something I use every day, but why not? It's here. You have a honeycomb. This too can be a mess to model, so you just increase the number of rows and columns just like that. You have the diameters of the cell, you have the edge within that you can increase and decrease. So yeah, all of this, it's a time saver in case you want to make it. You have a teapot and a merger sponge. I had the teapot, so the classical one, nothing to do with it, no options. And you have the major sponge here. So this is a little crazy, a little crazy object because you can just increase the level and it will kind of subdivide itself with something with infinity subdivision like this. So be careful, if you increase this too much, it will start to take some time to, because we went from here 36,000 to directly here 600,000, I think. Yeah, so be careful, the next one might crash Blender because too much memory we will take. But here you can see that it creates interesting stuff. Why not in architecture use it, or maybe in sci-fi can be interesting to add this kind of stuff. Okay, good. So this was for the objects. For the curves, we have the curlies. So can be very good to make easily some decorations or things like that. You have different curve types here. Okay, you can have different options. So very easy to understand. As you can see, it works very well. You have the possibility to add some spirals as well. Okay, you can play with the number of steps, the height here, number of turns if you want. Okay, and it will just create this. You will have the possibility to use the curve as a poly or as a basic curve like this. Okay, in case you want to use it like that, and you use an automatic like this maybe, and you can add less steps in that case, like for example, let's say 6 might be enough to add this. Okay, so you will have this kind of possibility there. You can play with knots as well. For example, you have the tourist knots here that you can play as well. It's the same that you have into the mesh section, but made with curve. Okay, so you have the number of spins here, the resolution over there. So you can play with more options to create crazy knots. Okay, and you have the last one here. The last one is a little specific. It's the braid knot. So by default, it makes this, and you can increase this into the object here, option geometry, to increase the depth. Okay, and you can see the braid over there. So it can be useful in some cases. Okay, so that's it for all these objects. The braid circle, can I delete it? Yeah, no, it doesn't want to delete. Maybe here? Yes. So that's it for the extra objects, the extra curves. And here we have the last one that I want to show you. Can be interesting as well. So all of this, I go a little fast for that, but it's just to show you the possibilities. I will not go too deep into that because it will take a lot of time. But it really depends on what you want to do with Blender, as I said in the beginning of this chapter. The add-ons are really specific cases that you will make your own version of Blender, let's say. Okay, so let's go into the bolt section. Here, as you can see, when I add a bolt, I will have directly a bolt. And it's the real size, so you can really add this and use it for 3D printing or things like that. It will work. For example, let's go to that, and you will have different options over there, so you can play with bolt or nuts. Okay, you will have this option over there. You can play with the possibility to add some here extra things like the Allen, the Torx, or the Phillips if needed. And all of this is something that you can change if you want to increase the depth or increase the diameter of the Phillips here. You can make it just like this, okay? You can play with the head, like for example here it's an hexagonal one, but you can have a 12 point. In that case, I will remove the Phillips or make it less big. Yeah, like this we can really see what's happening. Okay, I will just remove that to show this. You will have the basic cap, you will have the dome like that, okay, you will have the pan, and you will have the countersink. So can be very powerful. Then after you have some presets. So M3, M4, M5, like in real life. So really easy to understand. And let's say you want M8, let's go for it, okay? And you want to increase the shank length, the shank diameter, or something like that, you increase the shank length, okay? The diameter, usually you don't change it. And then after you can play with the thread here, okay? So a lot of possibility to play with that, okay? You increase the length of that. And let's say you would like to create the female part for this. Let's add a mesh cube for that, okay? And scale it down until we have the right size. Good. And then you just have to duplicate this one. Like this, we keep the original, okay? And you take this one and make a Control-Shift-, and you will have a female part that will suit perfectly for the board, just like that, with Boolean operation. So even for 3D printing that will work with real boards, you can create your own objects that will work. Be careful here. I really recommend you to to increase a little the size, just a little, because sometimes for 3D printing it adds too much material. So in that example, for make it real, what I do, let's go in orthographic view, and in wireframe view here, I will just select all of this here. If it wants, it takes everything because I just want the vertices. Okay, and now I can select all of this. And what I do, I just make a little, I make it just a little bigger, not that much, but let's say Shift Z, not Z, we don't want a Z axis there, and we increase that just a bit. As you can see, let's say half of the datum here. And now it will be perfect to print it. Okay, so it's a little tip that I give you in case you want to make this. Sometimes it can be helpful. Another thing that you can do with it that is just for decorations, for hard surface techniques. So let's say you have a cube there, okay, big cube, and you want to model something like something a little sci-fi style, okay? So let's make something like that with Control B, and just with Y and an extrusion inside, I will just add some depth into that object. Again, I can do the same here. I can add some other parts if needed, but more or less I will keep it like this. Maybe I will add a loop here. It doesn't matter really the number of vertices and faces. I will just extrude that like this and make something like this with GZ to have this kind of style. Okay, and now I have a more interesting shape here that I can extrude, that I can use with Y to create this kind of interesting. And with Alt S now I can push it inside like this, just to have an interesting shape. Okay, and then you can play a lot with the shapes. We did see that already. It's just to have a global shape to play with like that. Okay, I will just add the shadows like this. We will see a little more the results, and now I would like to add some balls into that to make it look a little more real. So let's go into this, and for this I just add a bolt. Actually, I just want the head of the bolt because the inside will not be interesting. So I will just add a basic bolt here. Have a look at it here in non-orthographic view, and what we want is just the top of it. So we will remove everything here. The length will be 0.1, okay, even 0. We cannot go to 0, and this one will be 0 as well. So we just want something really basic like that. Then we will choose the head. So maybe we will want something like a cap, maybe not a cap, maybe a dome, just a simple dome, like this. And I will put an Allen into that one, or maybe what do we have here? A Torx. A Torx will look good for this. Nice. Now in front view, okay, orthographic view, wireframe view, okay, we'll just go into this object, remove all of this. Okay, and what we will do, we will dissolve the faces like this. We will keep a surface over there. Okay, and we will make Control plus until we have this kind of selection to have really something flat in the end, and we will dissolve all of this again. It will be the faces here, and now we'll have an entirely flat surface there. We want that the origin point will be into the surface, so we select everything and make a GZ into edit mode. Like this, we will have this object ready. We can scale it a little because the object is big, and now we will use the face project technique and align rotation to target. Now what is good is that I can just select this, and just by G I can put it where I want, and it will give this kind of hard surface style into the corners over there, like this, that. Okay, works pretty well, as you can see. So I just duplicate where I want to add some. Maybe one here and maybe one there. Okay, and maybe I can put some here and there as well. Like this. Okay, as you can see, it's very quick and it adds a little of character into your object very efficiently. Okay, so maybe I have enough there. So now what you can do is, as it's everything well done on the left side, okay, we can select one, okay, and we can add modifier mirror into that object. So it will be a generate mirror. So now it will mirror itself on the same location, but we want a mirror object here, and this object will be this one. Like this, it will go directly into this. Now we can select all the others with Shift key, and we can make copy to select it, and they will have exactly the same. So like this, you will have your object like this, okay? So works very well for art surfaces, as you can tell. So that's it. It was the use of this different part of this add-ons, the extra object, the extra curve, and the board section. Now, what we would like to do is explore architecture. And for that, we will go with Archimesh and IKEA browser. In this video, we will see how to use Archimesh and IKEA browser to play with architecture design. So let's go for that. I will remove these objects here. I will go into Edit Preferences, into the Get extension here. I will just search IKEA, and I can install IKEA browser. Then I will just search for Archimesh. Okay, and I will find Archimesh here, or Archimesh. I don't know how to pronounce that. I will tell Archimesh. I don't know if it's good or not, but sorry for my bad English. I will try to make it better in the next years. Actually, making an entire video tutorials like this, video training like this, helps me to practice my English. So let's go for that. Archimesh and IKEA browser. Here you will find some Archimesh things over there. You can see that you have different objects that you can find that are already done. And here you will have the same possibilities. I think it's under Create, you will have Archimesh, and you will have the different interface over there. And it's just, you can have some room, some column, some door, some rail window, panel window, and everything. So there's options here will help you to gain some time for this. So I will show you the room option because it's the main important, in my opinion, for Archimesh. So let's go there, and for this you just add a room, and it will give you a beginning of a wall. Okay. In this wall, you can play with the two first values here. It's the height of the wall and the thickness of the wall. Okay, so you can increase that. For example, let's go into 2.6. It's depend of the house that you want to make, the room that you want to make. So it will be, let's say, the height I will use for this one, and I will play with a thickness of 0.2, so it means 20 centimeters. So it will give me a thickness like this. Then I will play with the length of my first wall. Okay, so it will be my first wall, this one. And you have the baseboard, so give you a baseboard over there. You can delete this or increase the within and the height if needed. You have the wall cover as well if you want to add more definition. It will show itself with the shadows here. You can see the wall cover for the exterior there. And then you can just invert this in case you want the wallboard into the other side. But let's go into the number of walls. Here we just have one wall, so let's go with the second one. Okay, and the second one will turn left by default with the value here. So if I go negative, I will go into the other side. Okay, so let's say you have a map of the flat that you want to build here, and you will just can create your walls just very easily like that. Okay, so let's say the first one will be 4 meters. The second one will be 4 meters like this, okay? And the next one, because I will increase the number of walls here, will be -6, okay? Like this, you will have this kind, or maybe even -7. Let's go crazy. And there we want to add the next one, okay? Number of walls like this. It goes into the wrong side, or maybe you can make a shape like this after if needed. But in my, just in this simple example here, I will add this direction. So I will go into the negative, and I will go -7 like this as well. Okay, then I will go for the next one into with this value, with 3 here, and then I will go with the last one. Do I have an option to close the walls? Over there, and you close the walls, and that's it. So as you can see here, you have basically the wall into the negative side here. So what you can do, you can invert it like this. You will have the cover that will be well. For the baseboard here, you can go into the negative as well. Yeah, like this, you can go inside or outside if needed. Okay, so let's say you have your walls just like that. And then you can add your wall cover if needed as well. But I will not use that into our example here. I will just add some other objects here. So let's say I will create this collection and let it collect the walls. So now I will create a new collection, and this will be an opening. Okay, and this opening I can add some new elements like a rail window, a panel window, everything that is opening here. So let's go for a door first. Okay, so I have a door. This door, as you can see, has some options into it. You have the possibility to open into both sides, for example, or to open with different models. Okay, so let's take this model and take a left, right open. Okay, something like that. And then after, you just have to place it with this empty that all these objects are parented to. So if you just select this empty like this, you can move your object. Okay, then you can just put back your object like that and just move it into the middle of the wall, somewhere like this. By default, it will not show up. But now, what is good with this wall here is that you have the auto holes. And now it will create the hole directly for the door. Oh, what a time savior for that. Okay, you can do that now with some rail windows. Let's say, let's add a rail window, simple one. You have a lot of options for these windows as well, the size, the frame, the rotation. You have the rail window, the 2-leaf, the right leaf. Let's take the 2-leaf here over there. Okay, then I will just select the window, pull it up a little, let's say 1 meter. I don't know, 1 meter and 20, GZ 1 meter and 20, something like this. No, too high. GZ 0.2, let's say 1 meter. I don't know the height. Maybe it's 90 centimeters for a rear window. I'm not into this. So what is good now is that you can just put it like this over there, make rotation 90 degrees to make the opening into the right side over there, so it's good. And then maybe a GY to put it here, and maybe you would like to add another one here. So to do that, what you can do is select the ER key here, and with Shift D it will just create another instance like that very easily. Another one, Shift D again, and then place it into the other side. Okay, over here, make a rotation 180, it's well placed, and again Shift DY, and you will have the different windows that will appear into your project. So good, now you have your windows, you're happy with that. Let's come back into this and use the auto hole, and it will create the holes directly. and will let you have the windows and your openings directly like this. The last kind of thing is the panel window here. So it's a big window. Let's say that you would like a big opening into the other side like this. So as you can see, there are a lot of options over there. You can use the edge count or the V count here. Okay, you can even use an arch as a style somewhere. The top can be an arch, for example, here, as you can see. Let's keep this. I like that. Maybe it's high. It will be high enough. Yeah, it's high enough. So let's put that into the other side. I take the empty. With GY, I put it here. Make a rotation 180. As you see, it's really a seamless workflow. It works very well. So now I come back here, make auto holes, and I will have my opening that is well in place. Okay, so as you can see, easy to do. Now, what you can do as well with the walls, if you select the walls here, you can add a ceiling if needed, or you can add a floor. For our example, we will add a floor like this, okay? So this is the first examples that I wanted to show you. You have some possibilities to add some cabinets, some shelves, some stairs, some roof. We did see already that with the add-on Bagapie, you have a lot of possibilities with that. So yeah, it's already a lot of things that you can add. You can add some curtains, some lamps, some books into the shelves maybe. So if you add a shelf like this, you have different options here, and let's add it over there. Let's say. Okay, so you will have this kind of option, and then you can add a book here. And I think there are some options for the book. No, not really. Yes, the number of books you can increase. And like this you will have, I will put all of that into another one, into another here collection that it will be maybe furnitures. Okay, create that, and then I can hide everything like this and add a book. Okay, and you can see that you have some variation that you can use to play with. So you will have the book size here and add some randomness into the size, just like that, to make it more real, for example, to have this kind of option. Okay, and then you can play with the number of the books just like this to add more books like that. And now you can just add all of this into the shelf like this. Okay, with the GZ, maybe you want to scale it into the x-axis just to feel it well, and now you have your books. You just have to texture everything now. So yeah, as you can see, it's really a gain of time to add some details in your scenes, architecture scenes. So here you have the Archimesh, and as you can see, there are other things that you can add, like a lamp, for example, here. Okay, simple lamp here. You have different presets here that you can play with. Okay, so for example, this kind of lamp over there. So yeah, it's really easy to use, and I recommend you to have it in your toolbox if you make some architecture things. So now let's add some other furnitures and other elements there. And for this, we will go into IKEA browser that is here. So here you just have to search. You search with the English language. So for example, let's add some plants. Okay. You search, and maybe you will have the plants that will appear. So some will not, I don't know really why, but all the catalog will not happen into Blender. Some will not happen. They are not really modeled in 3D, so it's not possible because it happens from the website. But here, let's import a Strelitzia, for example, and see if it works. It works pretty well, okay? And now you can just move it into your scene. Maybe scale it down a little, put it over there with Shift Z, okay? And you will have your plant just like that. Very easy. Another one, maybe that one. See if it works. This one works as well. Perfect. We can add it into the shelf over there. So let's go with this base project here, and we can just click and drag it here. What is good is that everything is well textured and modeled, as you can see here into the render settings here over there. You can see that it works pretty well. Okay, so let's add another one. Maybe this one. I don't know if it will work. It works perfectly, and you have two of those. Okay, no, just one. It's okay. So maybe we'll add it on top again, or here. Might work. Will it work? It works. It's not well oriented with this, but I will just click, make it easy to put it over there, and you will have some props and decorations just like that. You will have a lot of furnitures, like for example, you want a sofa? I think it's possible. Let's add a sofa. So wait for the search. So sometimes it can take a little of time, and just you import the model, okay, and wait for it, and it's here, well textured, ready to use. Make RZ 90 degrees, okay, and put it into the right place over there. A table, for sure, we can find this. Let's go with the table, wait for the result. And you will have basic tables that you can import into Blender. So let's go in, maybe, I don't know if it's possible to import this one. Yeah, already a lot of details there. So with Shift Z, we will put here maybe. And then just you light the scene, you texture a little the scene. And yeah, it's very, very effective. You can play as well with the textures and the objects that we did add into the asset browser with the Polyheaven website, for example. Let's add some shaders into that. So we will go into Polyheaven website. We will go into the textures, into the floor. Maybe do we have some floor somewhere? Not really. I will go with wood. Just like this. Laminated floor. Just click and drag, and you will have this. So now it's very big for the size that we want. So let's go into the shading option and increase the size of it with this. Just by selecting this, and you will play with the scale. You increase the number until you have the right value. Okay. So here, if I put 20, I guess that it will be not that bad. And you will have the shaders that will appear directly. You can still go with these objects as well and add some other shaders directly from the layout here. So maybe you want some wood into that one. Let's go and take a basic simple dark wood here over there, and it will appear like that. You just have to go into the UV editing and make a simple here smart UV project, okay, and it will project it like this. Now you will see the result in rendered view into the shading tab, and you will see the result. So we can play with the orientation as well. Maybe it's not this one, it will be the Z one, yeah. And if you put 90 degrees over there, maybe scale a little if needed, and you will have a nice texture into that, okay? So very simple and easy to use. If you work with cycles here, So let's go with cycles over there. You can add your HDRI here from here, maybe with a sun. So let's go with outdoor and something with a strong sun like this one over there. And let's go into rendered view to see how it looks. So now you have the design that looks really well. And from here we can see even that these objects will disturb. So it's the object that makes the Boolean operations. So what you can just do is select everything, all of those Boolean objects, and hide it just like that. So it will make your windows appears, and then after you just have to select the windows and to make a really nice gloss material into that. So you will have this that will appear there if you select the right place, and add some gloss material into that, and you will have something that will look really nice in the end. So not that complicated, as you can see, to make architecture with design with these two add-ons. It really helps you a lot. So I really recommend you to add it in your toolbox again. In the next video talking about toolbox, we will see BaggerPy a little more in depth. We did see only some the imported models that we have into the asset browser with BaggerPy, but there are a lot of other options that are really, really interesting, and we will see that in the next video. In this video, we will go a little more in depth into BaggerPy add-on. So we did see already into the BaggerPy add-on that we have an asset already done here for the BaggerPy modifier, an asset browser here section that we can play with. We did see already that into the dedicated chapter of the asset browser, it was chapter 11. So this we did play already with that, and but we have a lot of more options into BaggerPy add-on here. So I will come back into the basic here timeline, and I will show you that over there. Where is the timeline to animation? Yes. Come back to the original one. I will remove, maybe just keep the cube, and we will see some options that you can find. You can see that here when you install BaggerPy here, you have the YouTube tutorials that you can click on it if you want, the BaggerPy documentation, and you have, and it tells press J. So what we will do is press J, and we have this nice menu, this nice pie menu that will appear, and you can see that it creates already a lot of options. So here everything in architecture, I will not cover it except maybe the pipes that we didn't see yet. For the rest, the window we didn't see it yet as well. The cables, yeah, you have interesting things here. So let's go into a window, for example. It needs maybe something to add it. J. So if I tell a window is now in the pie menu, new pie menu in edit mode decay. Okay, so you can add this in edit mode decay. Okay, and you have different kind of windows here. So you have window modern, and it creates windows from the face that is selected already. So very interesting one. So just like that, if you just make a subdivide like this, maybe just with two cuts like this, you will have this kind of face over there. And let's say you want this as a window, you make D and you go there and use a modern window classic here, and it will create that directly into edit mode. So you can play with all these options here. As you can say, it works very well. So yeah, all of that is architecture, and you can play with that, okay, with J as well. You have some options here that will work good into it. but the things that are really interesting here is the array, I would say, the array section here. I will not cover everything into that add-on. There are a lot of tutorials into that, into YouTube or other things that you can see. But I will just play with the array here and the scattering. The scattering for me, it's very important to create environment design, and that's why I want to show you that. First of all, let's go into the array section. So let's add a monkey over there, and let's press J and put a line like this. Okay, so you will have same kind of things that will appear into the modifiers, but with more options here, because it's made with geometry nodes modifier, and you can use more options over there. So it's just basic options that you have, but directly here available with this add-on. Okay, so I will just make Ctrl Z, and with J again go, for example, with a grid, and it will create the same kind of things, but with a subdivide here, the count that you can add to create a grid. In the simple modifier section, you just have 2 modifiers to add, but it's just a little more complicated in this way. Okay, with J here you can add a circle as well, so this one is very powerful. You can play with the radius, you can play with the count if needed, if you want more or less. Okay, with the ring count, okay, you can add more rings. So yeah, you have a lot of possibilities there, over there. Okay, so this one can be you see there's little options over there that even if you move this, this will disappear, but here it will stay, and you can play with there's options if needed. Okay, so there's options of array are already really interesting. And then you have the curve, so you must select a curve. Okay, let's go and let's add a curve. Good. So you need to have a curve like this, for example, with an extrusion. Okay, and select your objects, and with J just use the curve, and it will just create a curve deform like this. So very easily, very effective. Again, I don't know if it works with this. Yeah, it works. It fills the curves directly. So you see that in some ways it has really options that you have to make a lot of clicks to make the same with the simple modifiers, but just with one click. Okay, so here I will just remove this and remove that, and what we can see as well, so that's it for basically there's options here. You have the curve deform as well, you have the draw array. So for example, if you draw just like this, you will have an array into a curve that you did just create. So again, it's just a gain of time. It's just something that you can do basically with Blender, but it's just more simple to make put J like this and use it that way. So it's really more effective. Okay. Here I will just remove this. There's collections here that are not really useful now, because it creates some collections to organize things directly. And here I can remove the duplication of Suzanne over there. Okay. It's just a duplication, so I can put it back into the collection like this. It should work. Yeah, no, not really. It's outside, but anyway. And here I can go now with J again, and you can see that you have some scattering options. So the first thing I would like to show you is the IV. So the IV, for example, let's add maybe, let's make something smoother with a subdivision surface with Ctrl+2, shade smooth like this, and make a nice object like this. Okay, so now we can add some IV into that with J IV, and you see that it creates IV directly. You can play with this object here. For example, you can see that it will create ivy just into one side, for example, or just the other side, just to manage the ivy so quickly like that. So can you imagine you have an exterior scene and you want to add some ivy into your scene? So easy to make. On the wall or something like that, it works pretty well as well. Even with a bigger object, it might even work better. So with J, I put back an ivy into it, and you can see that now if I move it here, where is it? The ivy parent here, I guess here. If I move it here, you can see that I can add some ivies directly there, and it will create this nice curvy effect here. Okay, I can scale it up to have more ivy here, and I can put even multiple ivies into this object. Like if I put J again and ivy there and put it here, scale it up maybe a little, you can see that I put into both sides here. Maybe in that one I would like a little more here. So you can see that it's very powerful and save you a lot of time again. So all of that just with a few clicks, very, very powerful. The other thing that I would like to show you is in the scattering part is how to scatter objects here. You see that you have options. So for that, I will just add a plane that I will scale into edit mode like this, okay, and subdivide a few times until I have a kind of grid like that. It will not work with a non-subdivided mesh, so maybe I will do it another time like this. You can add some landscapes to create some terrains with Ant landscape or things like that, and it will work as well. So let's go for scattering now. So here, let's say I have a few objects over there into the asset browser that I will find from the polyheaven. I will show you that later. I will just show you with a simple Suzanne over there. Okay, so you have monkey here. Maybe I will, in edit mode, place it well on the ground. Okay, like this. Like this, it has still the origin that didn't move anywhere, but now it's on the ground. So now I will want to select the first object, the second object, press J and go into scatter. And it will scatter directly into the surface. So by default, it creates something that can look a little geometrical or something like that. Not really interesting. But you have to play with these values here with the viewport display here, for example, or the density max or less, okay? So creates already more interesting stuff. You have the minimum distance between the objects, okay, that you can play with as well. So this is the maximum here, and this is the minimum there. So it creates already something a little less repetitive over there. What you can do as well is go into the transform here and the randomized transform. So you can play with the position, the X and Y, the rotation as well, but it will rotate everyone there. So not really that interesting here. The most interesting is the randomized section here. You can random some axes into the with a minimum and a maximum here. Value over there with an angle. So let's say you would like to rotate into the z-axis with a maximum value over there. And look at this, now you will have something that is really looks more natural. Let's say it will be plant, it will work perfectly. You can play with the scale as well, okay? You can play with the minimum value here and the maximum value as well. So for example, you would like to play with the global scale over there. You can increase the maximum value into all the sections here, and you will have this kind of effect. Okay, so now you will have big deformed Suzannes that can be interesting in some cases. Okay. Something that you can do as well here is playing with the seeds. Okay, you have the tools here that you can add some other assets into it if needed. So you see that it's already very powerful to play with this. Okay, you can mask with a texture mask if needed. For us, we will not use that. So yeah, already a lot to do with this with this. You have the scale minimum and the scale maximum here in the global section that I prefer to use to keep the global shape of Suzanne, but just reduce it or increase it. And so it works very, very well with everything that you have to scatter on a surface. It can work with rocks, it can work with little piece of wood, or maybe some leaves that are on the ground. You can add some plants everywhere, so it's very, very powerful. And you can add several layers. So here I will remove that one and I will play with another one here. Okay, let's add multiple objects at once with not the Bagapai modifier but the polyhaven here. And we will go into the models, we will go into the nature, and we will go into the plants. Let's go just with simple, maybe ferns like that, okay? So just click and drag the ferns into your project and just remove the instance just like this. So you will have 4 ferns like that. Now you can just select this object with this one selected as well, but this one as an active object. And again, you go with J and just make a scatter, and it will scatter all the ferns into your object. Okay, so you can play with the minimum and the maximum. Okay, so let's add something a little more big. Let's play with the density max maybe and the distance minimum. So we want something with less density, far less density, let's say something like that. Okay, and increase a little the scale maximum to have something more natural. Then you can play again with the randomized transform, especially with the rotation into the z-axis, to have something that will look more natural and less, more random. And it will be perfect to add multiple layers like this. Let's say you want to add some debris, bark debris like that. Let's add the bark debris into our project just like this. Don't forget to remove the instance here, and then you have your bark debris that are here over there. You go into this and you make J and scatter it again. Okay, you just go there into this. So you see that you have a lot by default. You remove a lot of density max value like that. You play a little with the different options you can have, like the minimum scale, maximum scale, maybe not that much for this one. Okay, and then especially with the randomized rotation into the z-axis, this one is very important. Like this you will not have something that looks non-natural. Okay, so like this you will have really easily something scattered into your object. Maybe I will put less big over all of this, and you can play with all these plants, or maybe in the rocks. Okay, you see that you have some rocks, mossy rocks here. Let's go into mossy rocks. So I will add these rocks into my model, into my project over there, and then you see that I can just make again a new scattering over there. So you see that it adds another layer. You can rename this layer, remove this layer, hide these layers. It's so powerful and easy to work with that. So here you can just play again with the density maximum, not too much. Here it seems that the minimum and the maximum scale are too big. So let's decrease that and play with the rotation value here. Okay. And maybe if you want them to be more inside or more outside, you can play with the Z position there. You can see that you can play with that to make them a little more inside the ground. And look at this, you have already something that looks good just with these objects like that. It will work perfectly. Let's say you have a texture on that under that model. So for example, if you go into textures, if you go into terrain, I will add just a brown mud leaf like that over there into that model, and maybe add some division into the scale here. So maybe I will put it 2 times or 4 times. Let's say 3 times might work well. Yeah, look at this. And now, look, you have something that looks very natural and just in a few clicks, okay? If we put just an HDRI on that, just for the pleasure of the eyes, to have something more beautiful. So let's go with an HDRI here. We go with an outdoor for sure, a natural one, maybe with some sun or a sunset. Maybe we can find a sunset somewhere. I'm not sure if we have sunset here. Maybe that one looks right. Okay. And we go into the render tab here. So we will just keep EV and maybe go into ray tracing. Like this, we will have some shadows, I guess, I hope. Maybe not in the end. Yes, we have something, but not that much shadow here. Yeah, we have to go into cycles to have something more beautiful. So we'll play with GPU, compute, okay, and play with the denoise here. Yeah, it's because I did open shading language. It will make a time until Blender will make the kernels. So I come back to you when it's finished. Okay, it finally came out here. And here you can see that we have a nice result over there. I will just put the denoise here, and you can see that we have something that looks already really natural. We will see a little more how to use these tools with the geometry nodes and how to make some really realistic landscapes into that. So I would like to show you the other options that you have here. Over there, I can just hide everything, as you can see. And now if I select my object, let's say I would like to make the same kind of scattering, but by more control where I want the object to be, okay? So I can press J again, and you see that you have the scatter paint and the snap asset here. So the scatter paint is a very powerful one. You just paint where you want some. Really easy, this one, okay? So not complicated to use and easy to understand. You see that you paint where you want to. You can just use the tool options here to place the strength that you want with the strength here. For example, if you want less, you can add less here. Maybe a little more over there. You can add more. And then after when your painting is done, okay, you just click exit paint mode, and you just have your new layer that is done. So very powerful one as well, okay? And this one here, so I will hide that one as well. And this one here, for the last one, maybe I will play with the ferns. You can play with multiple objects at once. So for example, if I take all these objects, it will work directly into it. And yeah, with J you have the snap asset here, and you just click and that's it. Okay, so it's just a click and you add a new one. So very easy to add some like that. Simple. Okay, and when you finish, you click on escape and everything is done. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, it works pretty well for that. it creates some new collections with everything that you use for have everything well organized. So yeah, a very good add-on for scattering and play with all these options that I did show you. That's why I wanted you to know a little more of the BagaPi add-on. Here it's the free version. The paid version has really a lot more options for scattering objects. For example, you will have a lot of objects that are pre-configured, ready to use to scatter here. So can be very good to have this. If you want to support them, don't hesitate here. So that's it for the BagaPi add-on. And into the next chapter, we will start to play with animation finally. So it will be how to use the key-based animation, and you will see that it's so powerful, this technique to animate, and so simple in Blender.